Hello, it's Gray.
Hello, it's Crystal.
And this is Fascination Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show many times.
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
Both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 6, Episode 2, 2.5 Men, written by Adam Glass, directed by John Showalter. This was aired in October 1, 2010.
This is the first Adam Glass.
Yeah, Adam Glass wrote many episodes. None of them I can defend.
I honestly think this one was fine.
I don't know. I would say it's incredibly boring.
Really? Interesting. What was boring
Very
about
much so. I don't know. I think I was just going through a knitting slump while I was watching this
I
episode.
mean, there was a baby on screen that was cute. I feel like that's enough to retain interest.
Yeah. Love a cute baby. But, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit flat. Like, we're still at the part of the season where we're building up to things. And I feel like, because the last season we were in, Season 5, in case we forgot how to count, like, we start the season, like, running, you know? Like, because it's Season 4 and Season 5, they're, like, they're continuous. But I feel like Season 6 really had to start from scratch. Like, obviously, new showrunner, new concept, new form, like, blah, blah, blah. But it feels so, like, slow and boring. Maybe when Cass shows up.
You want the larger plot to be part of it more?
It's not that I want the larger plot. It's just I want things to pick up a little bit. Because, like, you know, Sam's so suspicious. And dude's so sad that he has to leave Lisa and Van. Like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Sam's literally normal and fine and a nice person.
No, it's so funny because, like, in the flashbacks that they do for this episode 2, in the den sequence, he's literally, they only showed the scenes where he was acting completely normal. And in this episode, he's also completely normal. He's normal. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he starts acting more soulless once that gets revealed.
That he is actually soulless? Yeah.
Yeah.
When he starts working out,
really normal.
you know.
Yeah, that's when you know.
That's when you know. You're like, nah, Sam's not here.
Yeah, that's Jared Padalecki, also known as Soulless Sam Winchester.
Exactly. Well, what did you know about this episode before going in? Can I take a guess? Obviously, you know about Bobby John.
I knew about Bobby John. I didn't know what episode Bobby John would be in.
Yeah, I knew it was this.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the, like, yeah, it's one of the things I remember the most in Season 6. Like, if I were to list things I remember from Season 6, I would say the entirety of The Man Who Would Be King, fisting scene,
yes,
Bobby John, Sam working out. That's
Is that in the Spin Me Right round or something?
Yeah. I love that AMV. Let's revlog it. It's so wonderful. There's a part in that AMV where he, like, turns around. Like, it's different shots of him turning around. And in one of them, his, like, boob, like, does the thing. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
The little... I don't know. What is it called? He flexes his specs or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
What?
It's just... No, because I was going to say, and it's beautiful, but in the last minute, I was like, we need to be honest with ourselves. So I said it's fine. And it is.
Okay. Yeah.
What else did you know about this episode?
Like, nothing. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I've seen the parts where Dean's like, oh, and I've been acting like a prison guard, and that's not how I am. Like, that's what my daddy was like. Like, I've seen screenshots of that.
It felt very much like that scene in, is it The Nice Guys? The one with Ryan Gosling? Where he was like, you're acting like I've seen this. No, but like, at some point he's telling this woman who admitted to killing people or something, that he's like, you're not a murderer. And the cop's like, she literally killed people. And he goes, I mean on the inside. That's the situation right now. I also, what is it? I mean, surely you have also seen the baby parts, obviously, but also like the parts with baby, the car.
What part?
When he fucking disrobes her or whatever.
Oh, sure, yeah, probably that's been an AMV. I just assume he's done that several times in his life. It's a pretty generic looking image.
That's literally in the Clicky AMV.
Oh, then that's definitely on me for not recognizing it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Like, you know that part where Bobby goes, and what are we supposed to do, genius? Like, the AMV maker cut it so that the parts where it's Bobby's face that's on camera, they cut to the car. It's amazing. Love the AMV. Truly an iconic piece of art. And it should be in the MoMA.
The Library of Congress?
I said the MoMA. You're not listening to me.
I didn't hear it. I'm so sorry.
Well, sure. Let's put it in the Library of Congress also. So, we start with the episode. Dance sequence. I mean, it's just regular stuff. They just introduced what they fucking said last episode. Except, we see Dean's best friend that he just let go. In the fucking... Did you see that? Did you catch that at all?
Oh, no. Was he in there briefly when they were explaining what a shapeshifter was?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe that's a different guy, but it's the same episode. But I remember him, and I cherish him.
Just like Dean did, but failed to do enough.
This is true. That is still so funny. Why did they do that slow-mo shot of him getting shot? And Dean going,
I don't know.
No! And it's like completely silent. Do you remember this? They like mute all audio. Supernatural used to be good. Look where we are now. Feeling nostalgic about the best friend that Dean fucking can't let go or whatever.
Yeah.
No, he just let go. We start the episode in actually a pretty banger sequence where it's a house and it's just typical background, and then suddenly an incredibly bloody hand shoots up into the screen, and like, you know, there's a lot of commotion. She's carrying a baby and she's running through the house, and then she ends up hiding inside a room and then getting under the bed, and there's like scenes where she thinks the person who's hunting her down or whatever is gonna enter the room, but then doesn't, and then she turns to the side and her husband is dead. This is a pretty good opener, I would say. Like, it's very like scream horror. Is that a thing?
I don't know, man.
I don't watch
Scream
horror.
is a franchise. I don't know if it's a genre. I don't think I've heard it.
No, but you know what I mean, right? Though, like, it's like very like horror that's like gaudy horror. I'm sure Danica has words for this, but I don't.
Yeah.
Shout out. It's and then she gets dragged out of the bed and there's just a baby there that's like lying in there.
Yeah. It's been
Poor
chillaxing.
baby.
Yeah. She kept
the baby literally the gap.
Yeah, she kept covering its mouth with her hand, which was covered in blood. And like couldn't you have used like a part later down on your arm that wasn't covered in blood. Like, if you don't want the baby to cry, I feel like making it taste blood is not the move. They can't even drink water.
Literally.
Yeah, so we cut to the Lisa household, and they have moved since the last episode because of Dean's fear that things are hunting them. And Dean's like settling in. He has the Impala covered by like a tarp in the garage, and there's like guns and shit in it like always. And then so they're doing all the unpacking together, him, Lisa, and Ben. And Ben's finally speaking for the first time in the season.
Happy speaking.
Lisa asks what's up, and he says nothing. Hell yeah. But yeah, generally...
Honestly, I do like the characterization of Ben and Lisa this episode. Do you agree? Disagree? Thoughts?
I like the character... Okay. I think them together is fine and good. I think with Lisa, it's not that there are things that they wrote for her to say that I want to take away. I just want them to add more things for it to be good.
Yeah. I actually quite like the Lisa parts. I can't help sometimes but think that, like, what are they trying to do? And, like, I think my main concern is that her character, I think they're trying to do something with her, but everything that they're trying to do with her is tied to Dean, which, like, right. This is supernatural. That's an old complaint, but it just makes me uncomfortable, I guess, because, like, the way her character has been established and the way her character has been blah blah blah, I don't know, like, there is just something to the concept of like, we have 2 women in this season so far, that was like a presence this season. And it's Lisa and the woman in the thing that I don't know the name of. I don't know a single one of their names.
Gwen Campbell?
Is that her name? Well, yeah. And, like, I don't know, it's just... It still feels a lot like, oh, we have a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But who knows? Allegedly, I don't like misogyny.
Alleged by you, yeah. I just think that Lisa feels very rootless. Like, oh, Dean's like, oh, and I'm parenting like this because of my dad. Like, what were Lisa's parents like?
That's a very good term for it. Yeah, she feels like she has no past.
Yeah, like she was here for Dean's character development.
In the world that was, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, she has a personality and, like, a spirit, like, in the scenes that she's in. And, like, I like her presence and her energy. But, yeah, I don't think she has a past. And I think you need to have a past to seem like a real person in some contexts.
Yeah. It's not about her, is what the show keeps on trying to point out heavily.
Mm-hmm. The idea is that Ben's unhappy that they just had to up and move. Makes perfect sense. And Lisa's trying to be positive and cheer him up about it. And Ben and Lisa want to go out, want to explore the neighborhood, and Dean's just being very cagey about everything, but it's very clear that he does not want them to leave the house. And he tells Ben, like, why are you going outside? Like, you're gonna let Lisa unpack the kitchen all by herself? And then when Ben's like, okay, Dean's like, okay, now me and Ben are gonna head out to a different room.
Lisa is gonna pack things up by herself.
Yep.
What did they do? What was Dean and Ben up to?
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they were gonna unpack the kitchen. Maybe there were just more boxes to bring in.
Yeah, they were just gonna pick up boxes. I mean, later, the scene where Ben is, like, playing with the guns or, like, it's like a separate scene, so it's not really that.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just gonna pick up boxes.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry for accusing both of you of not helping Lisa unpack the kitchen.
Yeah. Now we go to the crime scene. And Sam is there. And honestly, when he picked up this phone and he started talking in his FBI suit, I did smile. I like, at the end of the movie when things have been resolved and the main characters see each other again and they share a smile or whatever, just like in Carol. That's how I felt watching this scene. Like, I was like, we're back. We're so back. Mm-hmm. I love a case episode. This one is just, it doesn't hit it. I think just because, like, it's not Sam and Dean, I love a case episode that's like normo-schnormo case episode, but I guess this one isn't that. But I still love a case. And, like, seeing Sam, like, picking up the phone and being like, oh, here's the updates on the case. It's like, love Supernatural.
Yeah, I think how this suffers as a case episode is just that they put, and reminder, this is what a shapeshifter is in the then sequence, and they spend so long this episode being like, and we don't even know what this creature might be. And it's like, well, no, I know, because I saw the then sequence. Sorry that you didn't see the then sequence, but I did.
Yeah. It's a team effort. And they did not coordinate.
Yeah.
Sam is, like, talking to the detective about, like, where's the baby? But they don't know. They don't know where the baby is. And we reveal a little bit later that, like, this has been going on for a while. That it's, like, multiple houses getting babies taken. Sam relays this information to Samuel. And honestly, I frowned. Like, that smile, that beatific smile that I was doing when Sam was investigating completely disappeared upon seeing this man's face. And he's saying that, like, oh, we don't know what it is, so maybe it's just normo-schnormo people. And Sam eventually finds the fucking logo of the security company, the security of the house, and he asks Samuel to go check it out. And there's, like, an interesting part here where Samuel tells Sam that, like, oh, maybe it's just normal people. And, like, Sam's like, okay, well, let's just leave it to the police. And Samuel is like, no, it's still, like, bad. Whoever is doing the killing the babies, it's bad, nevertheless. And Sam, like, does, like, a little, like, ugh. Kind of real of it. Is Sam so real? I know he's supposed to be soulless this episode, but as we mentioned, like, he's literally fine.
Yeah, he really is fine.
I mean, it is the case that we have been making in the past of, like, it's about the blah, 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 not the blah, blah, blah.
The case we've been making in the past is that it's about monsters and how they want to kill them or feel like they have a right to kill them rather than reducing harm in the world at large.
Yes.
That Samuel is addressing,
so
correct.
Yeah, beautiful translation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but now I'm like, go Sam. If you don't want to work, you don't want to work. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, we go back to Dean, and, like, earlier, him and Lisa kind of agreed that they're going to scout around the place and look for somewhere to eat because, Ben's been itching to go outside, and Dean said yes, but then he orders pizza for the house, and when he turns around, Ben and Lisa are behind him going like, what the fuck? I thought you were gonna go out. And he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot. So yeah, he's acting a certain way.
Later, after lunch, presumably, Dean goes into the garage, And Ben is there by the Impala with the trunk open, holding his gun. And Dean freaks out, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
And, like, takes the gun from Ben.
He advocates for gun rights or whatever. Not gun rights, the other one. I know. What's the
gun
opposite
wrongs?
of gun rights? Gun wrongs. He advocates for... No, what is it? What is it called?
Like...
Gun control?
Yeah, that one.
He advocates for gun control, yeah.
Yeah. So Ben is like, why are you freaking out so much? I just wanted to see this. And Dean is like, don't ever fucking open this trunk, dude. And Ben's like, well, I don't get it. Like, you had your own rifle when you were my age. How much does Ben know Dean about Dean's childhood? He's been
telling Ben. What is this? I mean, honestly,
it's fine.
I did appreciate
it. It's weird.
I did appreciate it just for the reason that, like, oh, they have conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe they do talk, which is nice.
Dean says, Ben, mark my words, you will never, ever shoot a gun. Ever. And Ben says, like, well, okay, but the thing is, like, the reason that you're being all weird is that you think that something's coming for us. So I could just, like, do what you do. You could teach me how to shoot. And Dean yells, shut up about the freaking gun, okay? And Ben starts, I don't know, he's upset and sad and feels like he's done something wrong, and he just keeps going, sorry. Then he goes and locks himself in his room, and they play sad piano music about it. I think it's a decent scene. Like, basically all supernatural scenes where they end up playing sad piano music, but the sad piano music makes it bad.
Do we have anything more to say about the Ben-Dean dynamic?
I think
aside from, like, it exists now. It's a thing now.
The show has already said Dean turned to the camera and was like, and it's like he's not my kid, but he is my kid. And Sam turned to the camera and was like, and you're being just like Dad for real, Dean. Like, that's about it.
Sorry, I completely forgot that we're in the show that just fully tells you the themes and motifs. Sometimes terribly. Like, remember? I mean, obviously, it just happened a couple weeks ago, but, like, the season 5 finale is still insane to me. The way they ended with Chuck being like, so what is it about? Kinda real.
Dean's still in the garage, and Lisa comes in and is like, hey, what happened? Because I just heard from Ben that you yelled at him, and now he's really sad and upset. And Dean says,
he's in the house playing
anything.
sad piano music. What's that about?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been locked in his room where we put a piano, and he's been playing it, sadly.
Yeah. He was playing Shostakovich yesterday, and now he's just playing the fucking supernatural theme.
Why does she know what the supernatural theme is? It is a TV show, according to the French Mistake, so...
Exactly.
Dean says, yeah, Ben didn't do anything. And Lisa goes, what did you do? And Dean goes, he got into my tools. I shouldn't have got mad. And I don't know if that's a deliberate obfuscation of the fact that it was a gun. Because, I mean, he teaches Lisa how to load and shoot later, so she knows that he has guns in the house and in the Impala. I think he's just trying to quell any potential, like, oh, like, this is regarding how we're in danger or whatever. But, yeah.
I thought what you were gonna say is that he's trying to protect Ben, because, like, I feel like Lisa's also gonna get mad if he was like, Ben, you, like, we're playing with guns?
Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I feel like she might be able to deal with it in a way that was less yelly, especially because Dean already did the yelling part. But Lisa asks, like, hey, clearly something is up. You keep us in the house so much. Like, you should tell me what's going on. And Dean's saying, I'm trying to keep us safe here. And she goes like, I'm not arguing. Like, you're the expert. It's just like, I'm just asking for an explanation. Like, what's up? Are we afraid of a specific monster or monsters in general? Yeah, I mean, I do like her lines here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like, honestly, if I'm being honest, I really like their dynamic from Dean's perspective, right? Because, like, I do think this kind of, like, stern but understanding thing is what Dean needs. Like, Dean needs someone who, like, respects what he is and what his desires are. Happy bisexuality. But also, like, it's like, no, you can't do this. Like, it's like strict with what their boundaries are. Because, like, Dean is... Like, I feel like Dean is the type of person who needs to be told. Like, what needs to happen. And he needs also someone who can tell him that, and he has the instinct to respect those boundaries. Because I feel like in other times, he feels like he can cross it willy-nilly, or the boundaries are not there, and so he's finding it difficult. So I do think this is like maybe Dean was right. Like, maybe if he was gonna live this kind of life long term, it is gonna be with Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that wasn't clear from the previous times that we saw her on TV.
Yeah, this is the first time that, like, I'm, like, engaging with it this way. Like, the reason why I have a knee-jerk aversion to this is because, again, we don't really get a lot of Lisa stuff. And so, like, I like it from Dean's perspective, but, like, I have no idea what Lisa's perspective is. And so I find it difficult to think of it as, like, a, like, mutual or, like, two-sided benevolent characterization. But I do think, like, it does make me sad to think that, like, yeah, Dean did have something good here, and he's about to lose it.
By memory wiping her?
Via his boyfriend. Hell yeah.
I support gay rights and gay wrongs. Not this gay wrong, though. That was pretty fucked up.
Cass, get your shit together.
Yeah. Right. I guess, yeah, from Lisa's perspective, because, like, a lot of it is, like, yeah, she's, like, no bullshit, and, like, she's not particularly upset or emotional by all these upheavals in her life, and that makes her, like, a good partner for Dean, but, like, I think the fact that she's so quickly, like, okay, with all of this makes it harder to connect to her. Like, she's portrayed as a character you want to be your girlfriend, not a character that you could be yourself, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you mean. Yeah. Like they're writing her from Dean's perspective. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're like trying to think, what does Dean need? I'm like, okay, this is what he needs. Let's do it. I don't know. I am willing to extend now more than ever so much more benevolence and thought towards Lisa. So I'll refrain from bad-mouthing her a bit more, but
that's fair. I mean, I do like her. Just wish that we had more.
Also, I mean, we've talked about this last episode. It's such a mature relationship to the point of feeling almost having there no attraction. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that also slays. I love it.
Yeah.
I do think this is what Dean needs. Like, he needs, like, a relationship with not money. Like Lisa obviously cares about him. Like, very obviously. But I don't think there is, like, that intense feeling of need for him to be around, or, like, she doesn't, like, feel betrayed by his actions, or at least not yet. And I don't know, like, because Dean is such an intense person, He probably, like, you know what I mean. Like, if he was in an intense relationship, it would be crazier. If he was in a lesbian situationship, he'll just kill himself. I need to stop making kill yourself jokes. I need to stop doing it. I'm so sorry. I just mean, like, I don't know, like, if he was in a little bit more of a, the point is emotional investment, like, the point is, like, I love you, it would be, I think, a bit more difficult. But because the perspective now is, this is my life, which is, like, I think just for Dean's type of person, like, it's a lot more punchy. I like it better.
Yeah.
Also, I just think, like, Dean is not attracted to women that way. Do you think they think so?
What?
Like, is he, like, in love with women? What is he up to? What is Dean up to? What's going on?
What about Cassie?
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. I think it's just a difference in terms of, like, the duration. Because here, like, I mean, to be fair, this is, like, the only, like, really long-term relationship we see that Dean have. You know? So maybe it's unfair to generalize from this singular experience. But it's just, it's a fascinating thing to see.
Yeah. And I also like that from Lisa's perspective, it's not that she's, like, passionately in love with him or that attracted to him in season 6 either. Yeah. Like, it's sort of just a practical decision that she's making for the family in addition to caring about him.
No, yeah, that's my point. Like, I feel like if Lisa was really into it in that way, Dean would be as well, but, like, Dean feels like he is matching Lisa's energy, and because Lisa's energy is so, like, it's a mature kind of approach to their relationship and their family. I think it makes it a lot more healthy and makes sense for Dean.
Yeah.
Like, if the scene later was portrayed as Lisa being like, just go. Like, I understand that's your one true love. Like, hunting is your one true love. And we'll always be number 2. Because it could very well maybe, like, that approach, right?
Right.
Because that is kind of, like, the point of the conversation later. But because her approach was, like, matter of fact and, like, not driven by jealousy or, like, a feeling of, like, betrayal that you don't love us enough kind of way. It just feels a lot more chill, you know? And yeah, I like it, love it even. Maybe Dean and Lisa are in an aromantic relationship. Good for them.
Yeah, so Dean is just like, I don't know, something might come. Like, I can't predict all of that. And Lisa just says, I'm going to need some parameters. We have to live our lives. I have to work. And Ben has to go to school. And yeah, Dean says, well, if something happens on my watch. And Lisa just says, I know you're trying to protect us, but you're kind of scaring me a little too. And then she goes, good for her.
So Sam receives a call from Samuel saying that, like, there is a pattern with the security company, and all of the victims are, like, from their customers, and there is one more family that fits the profile of, like, having a young little baby in there.
6 months, just like Sam.
I know, I thought they were gonna reference it in any way, shape, or form, but they didn't.
Yeah. I thought at least at some point part of the, like, oh my god, what creature is this, would be, like, the fear that Azazel's back again or something.
So Sam goes to that family. And honestly, what's his name? John Showalter? He did a good job with the directing of the, like, horror-y stuff this episode. This scene also looks magnificent. He enters the house and it's, like, dark and it's just flashlight, and as he's like flashing the lights around, he just like starts seeing the blood, sees the fucking just bloody body in the room.
He goes into a room and he looks under a table and he makes a shocked face. We're okay. Yeah, I did skip a lot. There was a guy and Sam attacks him.
Okay, I'll do it. So there was like somebody who's like in the house, but then Sam fucking gets them out or something. But then he like crashes down somewhere and he
doesn't
sees...
get anyone out. There's a guy who attacks him and he slashes him with a silver knife, and the wound like smokes a bit, which gives a hint as to what kind of creature the guy is.
And the guy goes out. Sam drove him out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Sorry, I'm being so mean to you. Have you noticed that? I'm so sorry. No, you haven't. Well, I'm not apologetic at all. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then, Sam's like looking around the room and there's something on the floor, but we don't see it yet. It's like suspense, even though we all know it's a fucking baby.
I mean, we wouldn't know if this is the first time we watched it. Yeah.
Wait, at what point were you like, oh, this is the episode with the baby?
I did know by this point.
By this point. How? Oh, because it started with a baby getting semi-abducted. Yeah. Okay. And then suddenly, like, Sam starts speeding out, and it's night right now. And he rings up Dean, and Dean is in the house, like, in his PJs. He's putting salt by the window. And Sam very urgently is like, Dean, you need to fucking go here. Dean, you have to meet me. And, like, Dean's like, dude, I don't wanna. But Sam says, like, if you don't come to me, I'll just show up at your doorstep, like, in 30 minutes or something. Yeah, Dean shows up. And as he opens Sam's car, the most beautiful car in the world, maybe, he sees that damn baby.
Yeah. Also, Dean's not driving the Impala. He has this white truck.
Yeah, because they're gonna do a reveal of it, the Impala, later. Why did he opt to do that? Was he like, let's separate my work life from my other work life?
Yeah.
Is it really that? Just brought up memories and stuff?
I think the Impala is for hunting. He just keeps her away.
Yeah.
Of all the guns
and also,
things.
Yeah, but like, we did see him with the car with Ben, like, in episode 1. So it's not
true.
like in full not use. So was he like, he was keeping it around, and then when Sam shows back up and he's like, oh, the hunting life is an actual option for me now again. He like goes to the truck because he's like, I don't want to think about it. Or what's the situation?
Be. I believe it. Dean goes back to Lisa's place and he has taught her how to load a gun and prepare to shoot it, and he asks her to go through all of it again. And he reminds her to salt the windows and the doors. And, you know, she's very matter-of-fact about all of it, but her patience is fraying a little bit about his overprotectiveness. And then he starts saying, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go. Like, Sam could just do this. And Lisa goes, Dean, no offense, but if you don't walk out that door, I'm going to shoot you.
I'm going to shoot you.
Ugh, love her.
And there is a very... Okay, first of all, Lisa is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, this is a given. I'm doing all this just to point out that I really do like the scene where it's like a profile shot of them. And, like, Dean leans in for a kiss and then goes to leave. And we, like, linger on Lisa a little bit. Because it's, like, the only scene in the entire episode where we see, like, an inkling of worry or, like, thought in Lisa that's like we don't see from Dean's perspective. Like Dean turns around and Lisa keeps on watching him. And like her face is like unreadable, but like in a good way. Like you, the audience, can be like, oh, she's thinking about him in ways a little bit less straightforward than how she's portraying it to him. Yeah. Which is very fun. Yeah. And she looks amazing.
Good for her.
Actually, what happens? Oh, they're in the car. And I don't know, there's a fucking baby. And the whole bit is that, oh, there's a baby in the car. I don't know. It's kind of corny. It's kind of boring, even. Should I say that? I should say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dean keeps on joking around with this fucking baby. Like here, he turns around, he looks at the baby and he goes, well, feel free to speak up if you know anything. And he thinks he's so funny, but it is amusing. And at some point, like, he has not seat belted because the Impala, as we know, does not have seat belts. And Sam's like, oh, Dean, the car is beeping because you need to put your seatbelt on. I think Cass is going to show up next episode. Is that true or is that not true? I hope it's true. He's going to
be in next episode. I feel like he's racist in it, though. Or he does something racist.
Sure, yeah. I mean, he's got at some point.
I'm pretty sure he's racist in it.
Let's see. We'll find out next week.
Okay.
He like throws himself off the window to Sam's car, and then we hear the beeping sound again because like the car alarm is going off. Love it. Anyway, we hear the beeping now because of the seatbelt, and Dean's like a little bit annoyed, but then he puts on a seatbelt.
He says a car should drive, not be a little bitch. And then the baby makes an upset sound. Feminist baby. Let's go.
Literally. They go to the supermarket to get some super baby supplies. Yeah. I mean, I think this is a pretty iconic scene. Like, I see it drift around as like something funny. Where they're just picking up like diaper rash cream and diapers and stuff. And while they're like lined up for the payment, the baby's crying so fucking loud. And like Sam is like, Dean, make it stop. And yeah, he's like, everyone's staring at us like we're abusing this fucking child. And yeah, like both of them don't know what to do, which I do find fun. Because later on, they do try to do the thing where like, oh, Dean's like kind of good at like taking care of babies.
Right.
But like, I like that they didn't enter with that. I feel like it's a little bit more like just enjoy like in terms of entertainment value, but also like them as characters, like, like I like it. Yeah. Like at some point, Sam's like, maybe he needs to have a diaper change. And Dean's like, oh, I don't know. And Sam's like, you should pick him up. And Dean picks him up and starts like, just like
rotating
him around and stuff. Yeah. Iconic. He's doing the helicopter on this baby. But I like, while watching this scene, I was like, what is the process of hiring a fucking baby to be carried around like that by Jensen Ackles?
Yeah, not sure. I feel like a lot of times it's like the kids of somebody who works on the show.
Really?
Because I think they're more likely to trust somebody that they know with their baby. Like, people are like, I don't know Jensen Ackles, I don't want him to do that. But if someone's on the cast, they know Jensen Ackles, they know that he'll listen if they talk to him about how to handle their kid. And they're like there on set and watching while it happens, then yeah, I think it's more doable. And a lot of people aren't just putting their babies up on job boards, I think. So
yeah. I mean, there probably is like an actual like call to casting for like, we need a baby.
Yeah.
But, like, I suppose it's difficult if it's, like, a long-term filming because babies do grow up, like, so fast. And also, it's a baby. Like, it's gonna cry and shit. And like, I don't, it's like, how many takes did they do with this? Were they like, oh, we have a baby, so we're just gonna do 2 takes at most? I don't know.
Don't know.
I hope
this baby's
the baby
a pretty good actor.
Yeah, baby's pretty good actor. I hope the baby is handsomely compensated, etc. And like, I was trying to catch like moments where I'm like, oh, that's not a baby, that's a doll baby. But no, it's always a fucking baby. Like, at no point I think that they use a doll this episode. Which is pretty. I think that means they had a baby.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I was just like, wow, they have a fucking baby. They don't have a doll baby. Like in that scene where Dean was like rotating that fucking baby. Yeah. I was like, that's a doll, right? But no, it's a fucking child.
Oh, also, what's relevant is that Dean has a better idea of what to buy for the baby because Lisa has a baby niece.
A niece. Yeah. Yeah, at some point, a lady shows up to them and they're like really making an effort of making this like a very warm and comely woman. And like she like carries the baby to calm it down. And she asks like, oh, what's the baby's name? And Dean goes Bobby and Sam goes John. And I've seen so many analysis on this.
Yeah.
People have thought about this long and hard. Yeah. And people are like, it's something that like Dean thinks of his father as Bobby, but Sam, when he's soulless, thinks of it as John, and
I think Sam, as a regular guy, would also think that it's John because Bobby hates him.
I think Bobby hates his ass so bad. Like, if Bobby was Sam's father, he'd be like, dude, let's cut it out. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, this kid is now named Bobby John.
Yeah, I think what's more interesting is that their automatic thoughts were that they were going to name this kid after their father rather than who that father is.
I do think it's a little sweet that Dean thought immediately of Bobby. That one I think is sweet. I don't think it's a sign at all of Sam's soullessness that he said John. Which is what I see more on the side of in terms of this scene. So they're like they're talking to this lady, having fun, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna take him away to change his diaper, don't even worry about it. But then Dean turns around and catches sight of the CCTV camera, and this lady has shiny eyes or whatever. What's it called? Glowing eyes? That thing. And that means she's a shapeshifter. And so Dean is like, thanks, but I think we got it. But she keeps insisting, and Dean goes, give me the baby for a stab in your neck. So real. And Sam seemingly doesn't immediately get that this is because she's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, Dean's just like this sometimes.
Like, Dean, so real. He's like, Dean, why are you so impolite today? What happened? You're having a moment, and it's not good to be rude to people. But eventually, they do this chase, and it's Sam who picks up the baby, and Dean like tackles her and stuff. And then as he's about to stab, like he gets yelled at, and then he storms out, and he goes and hops into the car where Sam is speeding through the fucking road.
They're discussing in the car why a shapeshifter would want a baby anyway. And Sam says, you know, it could have been following me this whole time since the baby's house. And Dean's like, okay, we should get this kid somewhere safe. And meanwhile, the shapeshifter has caught Sam's license plate. And this might be the same person, but now as a police officer. And Yeah, he's calling out an APB or whatever it's called on the car.
And it is fun to see the shot of like police officer and then it pans to the side, dead police officer.
Yeah.
And then it pans to the side and it's like lumps of flesh on the ground.
Yeah. Fun stuff. So now Sam and Dean and Bobby John are in a motel. And Dean's changing the diaper. And he's like talking to the kid a lot. And then hums smoke on the water and sort of bounces him up and down.
Yeah.
And Sam's over by the side just watching, sort of amused. And he's like, Dean, like, that's not gonna work. You're just gonna make it cranky again because you're such a horrible singer. But Dean. Bobby John does go to sleep. Yeah.
Dean tells this fucking baby, if I put you down, are you gonna be a man about it?
Yeah, this is how complexes are built, Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this baby was with Dean for 2 days or something, but he's going to carry this comment for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Sam goes, huh? And Dean goes, what? And Sam just says, like, you're not that bad at this. You're like father material.
Ew.
Ew. But yeah, this is all to force a conversation that feels kind of awkward, where Dean's talking about his relationship with Ben and then that relationship with John. So yeah, Dean's saying, like, you know, I've sort of had to be in dad mode recently because of Ben. Like, he's starting to feel like my kid, and I just feel like I have a chance to do something different for him because of all the trauma I had when I was a kid. And he does just say all of that. Like, it's not hinted at or anything. He just says it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, maybe is a sign of him being more emotionally mature and doing more self-reflection.
I mean, I've said this a million times, but Dean is aware of what's going on with him.
Yeah. So it's just more about being willing to share.
Yeah. Or being willing to say it out loud. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And Sam's just like, really? Are you doing a good job, Dean? Like, you clearly care about the kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because, like, last episode, this is what Sam does too. Like, Dean enters a revelation. Sam's like, I feel like we can establish some logical fallacies in that one. He's so real for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, especially, I think the point of this is, I mean, for Dean's character development isn't for doubt to be sowed, but also for more doubt to be sowed about, like, Sam saying that he stayed away for a year because Dean had, like, Lisa and Ben and this great family, and he didn't want to ruin that. Because he's very down to ruin it now, so that is not why he stayed away for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, you know, you're moving them around a lot. You're keeping them on lockdown. How is any of that different from how we were raised? It is different from how they were raised, actually. But the show does not seem to be making that distinction too strongly. Like, John's problems involved, like, forcing them to hunt when they were young and leaving them alone with no adult supervision and no food money. Like, Lisa's there. Like, Ben's fine.
Yeah. And Ben's not even his son. I know that's not the point, but they do point it out. They make a point of it. Earlier, Dean was like, I know he's not my kid. And it's like, who the fuck cares? Like, I don't know. I guess he does.
I guess he does. But yeah, I think the general point made being that Dean wanting to protect them is decreasing their quality of life, and making him an authority figure in their lives is valid, but I don't think it's not any different from how they were raised. And
Yeah.
Dan's like, well, this is temporary. And Sam says, Dad said it was temporary for 22 years.
So real.
So real. And
they weren't talking those 2 years. Maybe it was just 20 years, Sam. Have you considered? Maybe in the 21st year, John was it's been 21 years.
Yeah. Good point. Maybe there was just like a birthday call where Sean left a voicemail that was like, "Hi Sam, I hate you for going to college. Also, the way we were living, it was temporary." Yeah, he goes, "You want to watch out for them. That's great. I'm just asking, how do you do that and not turn into Dad?" A stupid question.
Very easily. I feel like you can do that in many ways, shapes, and forms.
A lot of people watch out for other people, and a lot of people aren't John Winchester. Yeah, and I think it's a more valid question if it's like just Ben there, because then like the choices are either like keep the kid out of it and end up being an authority figure that's lying to him, or like teach the kid how to defend himself. Which isn't the same thing as forcing him to be actively involved in hunting like John was. But I feel like a lot, like, for them, like, just the fact that they touched a gun that young, thus destroying their childhood innocence, seems to be more what they're upset about than, like, the being forced into hunting part of it. But, like, Lisa's literally there. Like, it is fine. Like, Lisa's literally there. I think Dean has, like, a general good middle ground even right now. Though, I mean, he could back off a bit. Where, like, he teaches Lisa how to defend herself. He keeps Ben out of it. And he generally keeps them out of all of it. Like, I think he's doing fine.
I do genuinely believe that, like, the only situation in which Dean can turn into John is if Lisa wasn't there. But Lisa is there. Like, that's the main thing. Like, Lisa is there, and Dean isn't, like, raising Ben by himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Feels like such a fucking big difference.
Yeah. I agree. And Sam, I guess Soulless Sam just hates women or something.
I mean, it has been alleged.
By me.
You alleged it. He's on his lappy toppy while this was happening. Then he, like, discovers something in the middle of this conversation. He's like, oh my god. One of the couples, the dad wasn't home when the baby was abducted. So the dad's still alive. And he's, like, off somewhere. Let's interview him. And so Sam goes to interview that dad. And what they found out is that...
Wait, Dean giving whiskey to a child, is that happening? Is this part of our discussion? I mean, it's not... It's, like, something that people do. So, like, it's not like he made up this new thing to do to a baby. Yeah. That's bad. Like,
yeah, but they did also give, like, I mean, there's many things you can give a kid that they give a kid in the past. That's not good. So,
yeah, agreed. So yeah, I think it was a bad move. But yeah, I think the point is like something. Dean's not like an amazing parent, and he's doing it the Dean way, which is sometimes wrong, but it's harmless and quirky and good, or whatever the fuck.
Such as imposing masculine expectations and such.
Yeah. And giving them alcohol. Yeah.
Are you going to be a man about it? It's a hilarious thing to say about anything, I feel like.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, Dean has been drinking this whole time, by the way, while he's talking about how, like, Ben feels like his kid and all that shit. And I think that is meant to be as, like, part of a, well, he's just like John for real thing. Yeah. So, yeah, this might just be the ender of that point, but mostly in a humorous way.
Yeah. Anyway, we go to the guy that Sam wants to interview. And this guy claims that he was getting divorced with his now dead wife, because what happened was she cheated on him, and the way he found out is because she's pregnant and they haven't had sex in a while. And she said that the reason why she got pregnant is because when he went out, he like went back home early and they had sex. And this guy divorced his wife for him. I mean, many things to, I guess, say. Or are they? I don't know.
I don't think there's that many things. It's just the shapeshifters were using rape by deception. Not good.
Not good. And Sam, like, figures it out that these babies, their fathers, are the fucking shapeshifters. But the way the Supernatural does this is Sam is like he's facing. He picks up the phone, he starts ringing Dean, and Dean picks it up. But then as he picks it up, there's like an explosion in the crib. And he's like panically, but also slowly and carefully trying to look into it. And when Sam goes like, yeah, Dean, it's a shapeshifter, we go to Dean lifting up the baby in the crib, and the baby, the most effective way that they thought to show us that the baby has changed is that the baby is now black.
Yeah, to match the baby on the diaper packaging.
Yeah. Which is because he saw the diaper packaging.
Yeah,
do baby
he's like, I want to look
like that. Do baby eyes work at 6 months old? Are you
Probably. Sure? Do they not?
I mean, like, they do, but, like, they have this thing where they're, like, they only see some things.
Huh.
Like, everything else is blurred. But I don't know. I haven't
It rapidly improves in the first 6 months of life.
Yeah. And this baby is maybe 7 months. So, it's the best it's gonna get.
Okay, they have good color vision by the time they're 5 months old. Taken faces at week 6. Yeah, it's almost fully developed at age 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So
that's fun.
Dean's trying to calm down Bobby John, who's crying a lot, and then the hotel manager keeps knocking on the door really loudly, saying that he needs to come in, that there have been complaints about the sound. And then he starts trying to break in, so Dean puts Bobby John in the crib and hides behind the door and attacks the shapeshifter, who's still the police officer. And the shapeshifter says that child should be with his father. And Dean, race joke, I guess, was like, I'm not really seeing the family resemblance. And then the shapeshifter says, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about our father. And they fight a bit, so true. But Dean is starting to lose. Okay, not true.
Not true.
They fight a bit,
even, and people would say.
Heretic. Even.
Exactly.
Dean's losing, but then Sam comes into the room and shoots the shapeshifter. And it's like a shot where the shapeshifter falls down and Sam's standing in the doorway all cool with his gun. And yeah. Later
they call back to this later.
Yeah. That Sam had to have overheard when the shapeshifter said, I'm talking about our father. Honestly, the timing is not clear to me that Sam would have heard that. But I guess he did.
Yeah, no, that's why Dean puts it like that. Like, Dean was like, oh, remember in the hotel? Like,
oh, right. And Sam's like, yeah, I did hear
like, oh, yeah. And Dean's like, so you heard it. So you're lying to me. So they're in the car now, and Sam and Dean are discussing, like, how it's even possible that shapeshifters are, like, having sex.
Well, reproducing. They know that shapeshifters have sex.
Yeah, maybe they're asexually reproducing. But like basically, like Sam's like, wait, I thought they were just like X-Men or something. I didn't know that it can be like passed down or whatever. And Dean's like, yeah, don't we know it? And they point out that this is like a baby. Like, it is a shapeshifter, but it's also like a fucking baby.
Well, Dean's on the side of it's just a baby, yeah.
Sam is arguing for it's still a shifter, while Dean is arguing for, but it's a baby shifter. And Dean was like, what are we gonna do? Drop it off an orphanage? Like, they might get upset when it turns Asian.
Asian mention!
Asian mention! Asia represent! Yeah. And Sam brings up that they should bring it to Samuel. Like, it's like, wait, we're gonna bring this kid to a bunch of hunters? And Sam's like, they're not just hunters, Dean. They're our family. Fuck off.
It's weird that Soulless Sam still has values regarding loyalty to the family. Like, possibly
I think actually,
more than he did before.
I think I think I like tried to mention this last episode, but I didn't do a good job.
Okay.
But the what I like about this is that, yeah, like Soulless Sam is leaning into the concept of family, but like in a way that is so like on paper, you know what I mean? Because like,
yeah.
Like, when they say, like, oh, it should be about family, they're not just talking about the people we are related to by blood and that's the only qualification. You know? Like,
right.
But I think what's happening here is Sam understands that these are the values that he is supposed to value.
Yeah.
And he has decided, like, oh, family is something that I'm supposed to value. But there is a lack of understanding about what aspects or parts of those really imbue that value with meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think
these are my cousins. Sure.
Yeah.
I trust them. We're good.
Yeah. Which I do find fascinating. And I think it's like an interesting thing to do. Like later on, in the future seasons, they have one character lose his soul. And he was like a really passionate guy. Like he liked doing things. And then, like when he found out that he was soulless, he was like, oh, that's why I didn't love any of these things anymore. And Dean was like, what? But you still kept the collection and you still talk passionately about it. And he goes, yeah, but like, it's because I understand that's what I'm supposed to do. But I don't really feel the actual affection anymore. I just understand that the affection is supposed to be there. Right. And like, I think that's like what Sam is doing. He's like, oh, they're family. And if I'm going to equate it as like a value that I have, the affection should be there. So even if it's not, he just... So, yeah, I think actually that's like a question that you're supposed to ask in this episode. Like, if you didn't know that, like, Sam was soulless. Like, that is supposed to be like a ringing, very, very red bell. That's not... I'm mixing my whatever. Like, Sam says, like, oh, don't worry, Dean. Not every hunter is a head case. I mean, Samuel is actually a lot like you. And Dean's like, well, I'm a head case. And he's so real for that. But anyway, they still ended up going to Samuel just because they don't really have any other proper choice.
Yeah. Well, Sam has other reasons, I suppose.
Yeah. Dean has no other choice. Sam is being ominous and mysterious, etc.
Yeah. So there's a scene in this like compound where the Campbells are staying.
It's
like there's like
guards
as
fuck compound
who are like opening like some like barbed wire fence or whatever thing to let the car drive through, And then the whole time inside the compound, like, all the Campbells are making, like, evil smirky faces, and there's ominous music playing as they, like, circle around Dean like wolves. Like, he's holding Bobby John. He's very scared. And Gwen says something mocking. Mark just, like, stands there and stares at Dean with, like, a mean face or whatever.
Christian is, like, a crazy name for an American. It's a very common name here. Like, some names I'm like, that's only for Filipinos. If you're American, get out of here. Like, I think Christian is a crazy name for an American to have. Just because, like, that's your language, you know? Like, you speak English. And the connotations of it, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Here, it's like, honestly, like, I only realized later in life what the word Christian means. You know? But, like, I feel like perhaps if you're in the United States and your community is English speaking, you know instantly what Christian means.
Yeah, I feel like it's a common enough name, though, that I don't actually associate it with the religion when it's somebody's name.
No, but I think it's undeniable that if someone is named Christian and they go by it, the entire name, it's like, oh, this person, like, comes from a religious family and maybe of a specific type of religious.
I mean, that's probably true, but I don't think about it. Like, it's not something that comes up in my head when I meet someone named Christian.
Slay. Maybe that's the case. For real. To be fair, I've never met an American who's named Christian. So maybe there exists.
How many Americans have you met?
Well, there's you. There's Danica.
Yeah.
There's that person that I dated. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The one who's ugly. Yeah.
Seen pictures of all the people you've dated. Maybe there's multiple people who fit that description.
I've only dated one American though. So
true.
And with your help.
Yeah, so Sam and Samuel come into the room and Samuel's saying that he has some ideas about their next move. Dean, let me see the kid. And Dean's like, And Samuel's like, what do you think I'm gonna do? And
I think they do actually do an amazing job trying to, like, make this feel tense, like with the camera work and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an ominous looking place, first and foremost. And they're like in a hallway. Like, I think that's a good choice. Like, having them be like in a weird liminal space as they do all this shit. That's so weird.
And Christian says, I'm curious, who exactly do you think we are? And it's all ominous and shit. And Dean says, hunters. And Christian says, funny, here, I've been thinking we're family. And Sam's like, okay, let's calm down. Dean, it's okay, let me take him. It's okay. And he takes Bobby John. And then passes him straight on to Samuel. Slay.
Do you think it's weird for Sam that his grandfather who he interacts with is named Samuel? But
he wanted to name his kid John, apparently, and then named his kid Dean for real. So, no, I don't think so.
No, he saw this and he was like, this is so cool. Like, maybe we should keep doing this for the rest of our generation alive.
Exactly. Anyway, so Samuel takes Bobby John, and he's just, like, nice to the kid or whatever. He's just like, oh my god, hi, cute baby. You know, Dean, like, your mom was, like, the tiniest little baby ever, and she was super bald and all of that, just like me, for real. And he was like...
Wait, I thought you were talking about yourself, and I was like, no. Did Crystal change their look? What's happening?
You haven't seen me on camera for, like, probably at least a year, honestly. No, so it's possible.
The last picture I saw of you was chin below. So, you know, things could have changed.
It's true. Yeah, Dean's like, okay, what the hell are we going to do with him? And Samuel says, raise him. And Dean's like, huh? What the fuck? What? And, like, what did Dean think? Like, did Dean think that Samuel would be able to cure him of shape-shiftingness? Like, what did Dean think was the move? Like, what did he think was going to happen?
I think he thinks what I believe is the intention, which is that they're going to take this kid and study him or give him to someone who will study him.
Yes, but, like, he was against that, right? Like, he was like, I don't trust you people. But, like, okay, so he was like, the best case scenario, which I'm okay with, is you giving this kid to somebody to study, and I'm opposed to the raising him one. Like, I'm just trying to figure out his, like, moral scale. He was very against this. He was like, you can't do this. Like, it's not gonna work. What the fuck? So, like, what did he want?
No, I think Samuel was getting something here, which is that what it is really is that Dean doesn't trust them to keep their word. And so, because, like, Dean was like, well, we have to, like, raise the baby. It's a fucking baby, even if it's a shifter. But when Samuel was like, no, okay, we're gonna raise the baby, Dean was like, I don't believe you. I think you have an ulterior motive. Which he does say later, like, I don't trust you guys because you guys are sketchy.
Yeah. But I suppose, I don't know. But later he's like, you can't just Angelina Jolie a shapeshifter, which seems to imply that, like, he doesn't think you can raise. Or is the point that, like, you can't? But
no, I think he's arguing against them just to make an argument. Just to have something to rail against. Because he doesn't want them to have this kid no matter what.
Fair. So he was hoping they'd be like, we're gonna kill this kid so he could just run out with him.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not actually sure what they were trying to do with this scene. But in my heart of heart, I think what was happening was that Dean was uneasy that they were welcoming this baby. And he wants them to stop doing that because he doesn't trust that they would actually welcome the baby.
Yeah, because of his whole hunting life and domestic life has to be a completely separate thing, etc.
No, because these people are fucking suspicious, which is what he says.
But the whole theme of this episode, like the conclusion, is like you can have hunting life and domestic life together. So, like, the point of this storyline and Dean not trusting that hunters could raise a child is meant to be like, this is a manifestation.
Can raise a child. Okay.
Yeah, of his insecurities or, like, his uncertainties about, the hunting life versus the domestic life. And them being sketchy is, like, from his perspective more than them for real. At least that's how I read it.
Because at some point, they do go like, oh, imagine what kind of hunter this kid can be. And that's like when Dean really reacts like, what the fuck?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Dean's surprised about this. And Sam's like, it's dangerous out there for him. And Dean's like, well, and here, what, are you going to study him? And Christian's like, just because you're a big torturer who won Best Torturer of the Month 20 months in a row down in hell doesn't mean that all of us are like excellent.
That. Doesn't mean that we're all excellent torturers. Some of us are beginners, Dean. Some of us are amateurs and hobbyists.
Be sensitive about that. And, and Dean's upset about this, I think, because of just it in general, and also because it means that Sam told them that Dean tortured people in hell.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And Sam goes like, Christian, take it easy, man. He's my brother. Love Sam being like, this is what family is, right? Let's do that.
Literally.
Could have also been like, he's your cousin. But yeah, he does not care because he hates Dean. Yeah. Christian hates Dean, yeah. And Sam's like, like, okay, or Samuel's like, calm down. No one's going to do anything to him. When he's old enough, we'll let him make the decision if he wants to volunteer to join us or not. And Mark's like, it could be great because he could be a really good hunter. And Dean's like,
it's true.
Yeah, it is true. And though, I mean, it would be also quite dangerous given, like, if you're handling silver knives all the time, and if you, like, nick yourself, it's going to be horrible. And also, if you're on a shapeshifter hunt, like, how do they know if you're, like, Bobby John or, like, a different shapeshifter if they do a silver knife test?
You wear a name tag, obviously.
You're right. I'm so sorry. I should have thought of that.
You put a pronoun pin, but you scribble your name below the pronouns. Is what
his pronouns are Bobby/John. Sorry, Bobby's pronouns are Bobby/John. No, wait, he, him, his. Yeah, so there's no. I don't know which. There might be another word in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's like the third person who's like a father to them?
I would say it's Samuel Campbell.
Yeah. Okay. So Samuel pronouns are Bobby/John. There we go. So yeah, Dean's like, you are all joking. You can't Angelina Jolie a shapeshifter. Give me the baby. But Angelina Jolie, by that he just means adopt a child of a different race from a different country, right? So
is that what that means?
Because Angelina Jolie has a bunch of adopted kids from other races from other countries, and I feel like she's like well known for that or something. That true?
Ah, I had no idea what this meant. I was like, okay, let's just go with it.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's her thing, or it's not her main thing, but it is something well known about their kids. Yeah, I don't see how that exactly plays into the shapeshifter hunter, like hunters can't raise a child thing, but I don't know, it's something. And he demands that they give the baby back, and Samuel's like, why don't you trust me? And Dean says it's because Samuel and Sam are both suddenly back from the dead, and he is the only one who's curious about it. So, starting to lump Sam in with this whole people we don't trust business. And Sam says, you're not the only one who wants to know. And Samuel's like, okay, like, if you're not comfortable, that's fine, but don't put it on us. All we're doing is trying to invite you in. Which I don't think is true either. I think Samuel is.
All they're doing.
I think the rest of them are quite mean. But yeah, he goes over to Christian. He's like, hey, you and like Arlene, his wife, I assume. Like, you guys are still trying for a baby, right? And it's not working, but you still want one? And Christian's like, yeah. And he's like, huh? And so he's like, it's okay, Dean. And he just hands Bobby John over and says, congrats. It's a boy, sometimes. Trans rights.
Literally.
Dean's all like, you can't be doing this. And Christian says, go to hell, which is, I think, particularly pointed, given you were best held torturer employee for 20 months in a row.
He's kind of iconic.
Yeah, pretty funny. And Dean goes, you have no business raising anything. And Sam goes, why, Dean? Because he's a hunter. And then,
literally,
yeah, their guard dogs start barking. So, even though Christian was like, I'm gonna be this baby's dad, he immediately hands the baby off to Samuel, who hands it off to Dean, and tells him to take Bobby John to the panic room. So, Sam and Dean run down there, and then a shapeshifter who is disguised as Samuel comes in and says, you have something of ours. Question, Sam and Samuel were discussing something in another room before they came in. Like, Do we, so is Samuel in on the bait thing? Is that meant to be our interpretation?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah. So the whole giving the baby to Christian thing was just, like, a fun little play.
Yeah, they're just trying something out. They were like, this fucking bait is taking so long to catch. Why don't we play around a little bit?
Yeah, let's make some contributions to the arts.
Well, Sam and Dean hidden away. And the shapeshifter, like, kills people, I think.
He kills Mark at some point.
The irrelevant other guy who has a Christian-related name. The theme of the fight is that everything that should hurt a shapeshifter is doing absolutely nothing to this guy. Like, they tranquilize this guy, they silver him, like, everything. And absolutely nothing is working. And, like, it comes to a point where, like, they think they finally gotten him. And then he just, like, stands up. And then, like, the darts on his back just shoot out. And also, I feel like other shapeshifters need DNA or something, right?
Yes.
This one just looks at them and just changes. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe I think the one who was the Dream a Little Dream of Me was the one you need DNA for. But basically, like, he just changes a lot. And he doesn't shed. Because, like, when he changed to Dean, he didn't shed, right? So, this is a special type of shifter. But then, so, like, he eviscerates the entire floor. And then we go to Sam and Dean, who are waiting in the panic room. But, like, Sam's like, okay, whatever, what the hell was happening? I'll go out. But then the shifter's there and fucking attacks the fuck out of Sam. And Sam's on the floor. And then it, like, just changes to Dean instantly. And, like, strangles Dean, right? Like, he, like, lifts Dean up via strangulation and gets that damn baby.
Yeah. Bye, Bobby John.
Goodbye, Bobby John. This baby's fucking gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't really do an emotional beat about it. Yeah. Which I thought that they would.
Dean isn't even like, that's my baby that I just let go. He's like, yeah, no, that's my son.
Like, they were doing a whole no, that's my son thing, I thought, but not really. I guess not really. His only point was to be like, wow, this baby is not my son, but you know who is? Ben.
Who is also not my son. Yes. Now they're back and they're like fixing themselves up, all of them. And Samuel is like, wow, I thought it was a myth, but it's true. This is the alpha.
Not the alpha, an alpha.
An alpha. Okay, sorry. Who's the alpha, Crystal?
Who's the alpha?
Who is the alpha? Question of all time.
Nobody. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
No, but he's the alpha and the omega, if you must remember.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he's not the alpha. Am I not Asian just because I'm non-binary, Gray? Think about it.
No, yeah, they cancel each other out. It's
so true.
So yeah,
it's not about the heterosexual or the non-binary or the Asian.
Yeah, exactly. Samuel explains that this alpha is basically the beginning of that bloodline of monsters. So like the original monsters, so like the original shifter and all that. That's the reason why it was so strong, because it was like the first one. And also because like the shifter earlier said like, oh, I can feel it, like Bobby John is here. I don't think he said Bobby John, but yeah. And that's because like he has a connection to like everything that is his progeny. And they're wondering what the babies are for, and they don't know.
Yeah. And they don't think they can kill the alpha shapeshifter either. So Sam and Dean head out talking, and Dean's like, it's really weird. Because before you killed the shifter in the motel, he mentioned, like, having a shared father with Bobby John, which makes sense now because he met the alpha. And Sam's like, yeah. And Dean's like, so you heard him say that? And Sam's like, I don't know, like, maybe. It was, like, a stressful moment. Probably, maybe. And Dean says, well, if you heard him, then you knew the alpha was out there. And if you knew that, you knew he might come after the baby. In which case, you were using the baby as bait. So was that the plan? And Sam's like,
I do think...
No, of course not. Yeah.
I do think it's like, it says something that at this point, Dean was still like willing to ask Sam directly. Like, because he's obviously like upset at Sam. But I think he thinks that like, oh, if I confront him, even if it's true, he would like tell me. Mm-hmm. Except he won't, which is fascinating.
I think he's still just trying to figure it out. Yeah, like, I think it's partly a test, like, if Sam says that he didn't do it, then Dean's like, oh, well, Sam's not honest with me anymore, and I really can't trust him. There's a short scene where Samuel's talking on the phone, and we don't know to who. And
yeah,
he's like, that shifter killed 3 of my people, Mark and the 2 guards outside, I assume. And he was like, okay, and this is horrible, but sure, I'll find it and I'll bring it to you.
We are now back with Lisa, and Dean is there. And, she's just doing... And, like, it is so stark, the difference in coloring, which I also did love. This house, it's, like, morning in the house, and it's bright, and it's sunny. And Dean, like, stands forlornly beside, like, the giant window. And he's, like, looking out or whatever. And he starts contemplating that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know what the right decision is. And if I knew, I'd do it. But I don't know if I should stay away from you guys or stay here. Like, I don't know what will keep you safe. And I don't know what to do. And also that, like, he knows that because of all of this stress, he's acting in ways that he doesn't want to act like. And it's scaring him. And Lisa says that, Dean, I also don't know what's the best. But what I do know is that you're not a construction worker. She said, dude, when you cut wood, it's not straight. Get out of here. You're a hunter. And now that your brother's out there, things are different. You don't want to be here, Dean. And Dean says, yes, I do. And Lisa says, and I do like this one. She says, okay, maybe you want to be here, but you also want to be there. And yeah, she says, you're white-knuckling it, living life like this. Love the term white-knuckling. You don't have to hide who you are. Oh my God. He said, I love that you're bisexual.
Yeah.
She's just like Central C for real. And yeah, she says, I'm not going to have this discussion with you every time you leave. And it's going to keep happening. So I need you to go. And Dean says, well, I can't lose you and Ben. And she says, that's not like exclusive. Like, just because you're going to be a hunter doesn't mean you're going to lose us. You can just always come back here as long as you stay safe and you try to live your life as you want it. And Dean's like, okay. And then he runs to the garage.
Well, he says, do you really think we can pull something like that off? And Lisa says that we should try.
Yeah, and then he runs to the garage.
Yeah. They're playing rock music, and it's fucking stupid as all hell.
Fuck off. It's Smoke in the Water, right?
Yeah.
It's the song he was humming earlier, which I think was fun.
I think this scene is stupid as all hell.
It looks stupid at the end of an episode, but I did like it here. I mean, I did like it independently of everything. Like, if this was in season 7, I'd also be like, love it. If this was in season 8, I'll be like, wonderful. If this happened in season 3, I'll be like, I love this episode. You know?
Yeah. Sure.
But
in the context of the episode, like, it's like, oh, like, I've had difficulty reconciling my hunting life and my domestic life, but we're really just gonna try to make it work, and my heart will be with both of you. And then it's like, vroom, vroom, bitches, it's Impala time! Like, it just feels tonally dissonant.
No, he figured, he reconciled, he lost a baby. He reconciled with his secondary baby, and now here is his first baby.
Yeah.
So it's an episode about babies, is what we've established, and so
sure,
all of us need to be here. Yeah,
sure.
No, but I do love this scene. There's like a tarp. He removes the tarp. There's like zoom ins on places, and he's like looking at all this working.
Stupid.
And
sorry,
like,
you're allowed to love
like,
things.
No, but the thing is, I do find so. I do find so funny that, like, for us, it's like cool because there's like action and movement because of the camera. But like
for you, it's cool.
For Dean, he's literally just standing in front of this car smirking, like.
Yeah,
and that's so real. That's important. Yeah. Okay, well, what did we think about this episode? Remember when we started talking about it and I was like, it sucks and I hate it. I think maybe it's fine.
It's literally fine. Like, I think it was a decent episode. I feel like they did an okay job at, like, connecting what was going on with Dean's life with, like, the specific case while moving the intrigue of the, like, of things happening to monsters and Sam being off forward. I like Lisa. I wish we had more of her. I really wish we knew things about her parents or something if they're going to be talking about this whole generational trauma parenting thing. The ending was fucking stupid as all hell. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, well. Best line, worst line?
Best line's probably a Lisa one, but I don't know which one.
I do like when Lisa goes, I'm not arguing with you or the ex. Like, that entire conversation until the last part where she goes, like, we have to live our life. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, I think those are the kinds of things that, like, I like it from Dean's perspective, and that, as I've said earlier, like, those are the things Dean needs to hear.
Yeah, I was also going to that section, so yeah.
Yeah. I do frequently think about that one post. I forgot, like, the entire context, or even if it's a Dean Winchester post for real, or I just, like, in the tags, I was like, oh my god, this is so Dean, or whatever. But, like, that one post about how Dean is, like, a kid who goes to the kitchen and then breaks the plates because he wants people. Yeah, because he wants people to go in and, like, tell him, like, don't break the plates. Or just tell him, like, no, we love you or whatever. But everyone's just like, oh, Dean's breaking plates in the kitchen. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I am surprised by how much I like Dean so far this season. I think he's got an interesting characterization thing going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't seem too pissed about him either.
He's fine, I guess. He's just not hitting on women anymore. And I feel like that removes most of his annoying behavior.
Last week he was like, I can't believe women are hitting on me. I know I'm so hot and I look so hot. And people think I'm available, but I'm not. And then he's like, okay now.
Yeah. He got it out of his system and now he's fine.
Okay. Spreadsheets?
Worst line?
Oh, worst line, yeah. I don't know. I don't like the part where I don't know what. That's a lie. I don't have any strong dislike for any part.
Yeah,
I think I don't like
remember.
the like racially something lines. Like when that shapeshifter comes in and Dino's like, "Oh, you don't look related" or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kids who are related to parents and they don't look like them because it's like an interracial relationship, and also it's just a general like othering of Bobby John.
And like basically the whole for me the issue is that like they never referenced that kid being white like ever.
Right.
And then he's black and suddenly it's like, oh, the kid is black. Like, okay, well.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, and they're going to get upset when he turns Asian. They'd get upset if he turns white, too, because he's currently not that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, yeah. Also, like, who are the other, like, people of color in the episode, right? Like, there's, like, the woman in the grocery store who's also a shapeshifter. And I feel like they did make her, like, an older black woman specifically to be like, you can trust her, she's motherly.
No, yeah, they were really leaning into that.
And then there was, like, the pizza delivery guy was black. And was that all of them?
Yeah. I don't think so.
There were some other people in the grocery store, I think, who were people of color. But yeah. So, this is one of those rare Supernatural episodes with people of color. But it seems that in most of the cases, it was for a reason.
Yeah.
And not a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I guess that goes into our spreadsheet discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Misogyny? I would say there's not.
Trying to think.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How have we, and how will we in the future engage with, like, that specific kind of horror violence that's like, the horror is that it's a woman who's being violated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there's the idea there's some greater loss of innocence or like goodness or whatever.
No, I mean...
No?
I don't know how to describe it. Yes, that, but also like specifically like where the intent is like it's a woman who's... I don't think it's that present in the scene in the first scene of this episode.
Yeah.
So like maybe this isn't even the episode we need to be discussing it in. But like I don't know, like if you know the movie, what the fuck is that movie called? The one directed by Tom fucking Ford. Do you know that he directed a movie?
The perfume guy?
Yes, he directed Nocturnal Animals. I watched this because it has Jake Gyllenhaal in it. It was misogynistic in a way that, like, I was watching a series of Jake Gyllenhaal movies, and after a while I was like, oh yeah, I'm experiencing that like fatigue of like when you watch a series of movies and then all of them have like at least some aspect of misogyny and you're like getting tired. Right. And then I watched this and I was like, let's quit it. Sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal. And like the whole point is like violence specifically towards women. Whatever. I don't know. We'll probably address it in some other episode of Supernatural. It's just something that I thought about at the first scene of this episode. But yeah, I think the misogyny in this one is 0.
Yeah, I'm willing to go with that. I feel like there's like a general, like, I wish Lisa had more of a past vibe, but I don't think it necessarily needs to translate into points. Racism, it's there.
I would say it's 3. Like, it's
I was
kind of
thinking 3.
Yeah, it was. They made it fundamental to the episode. Homophobia. I don't know. 0?
I don't remember any, so yeah, let's go with 0.
Okay, what? Oh, I am even numbered, so I'm gonna be the first one to guess my IMDb. I'm actually so unsure. Last episode
we were so off.
7.6. I would say this one, I think people like Bobby John. And people like that Dean and, well, Dean specifically was like good with the baby. And Sam too was in this episode. I would say this would be an 8.2. That's my guess.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a while before I understand what the standards are in this new era of Supernatural.
Yeah.
Because, 7.6 is shockingly low for an episode that was, like, bad, but not, like, I think noticeably
egregious,
worse than, like, 8.0s in the past. Yeah, I don't know, this was more case-y, which I think people like. I think people like when Dean's, like, funny, and he was, like, funny in that store, I suppose. I'm gonna go higher than you and go 8.3, but I feel like this may be a bad move.
Okay. Let's see.
Is it in the 7?
It's a 7.8.
Jesus, are we just gonna be in the 7s for the rest of season 6?
Well, let's find out. I mean, The Man Who Would Be King is absolutely one of the most top-rated episodes of Supernatural, so that's not the case.
Is it that top-rated?
Yes, it's very much top-rated.
Okay.
This one says it like it's not good, but it's better than the premiere at least, which is, I mean, it's true. Yay, the Impala is back, girl. I missed you. So real. I think what happened is that people just hated Exile on Main Street so bad, and so it's just like a continuation of that disappointment. Like they're like, oh, I can't believe it's so bad, when it should not be bad anymore. That's it for this episode of Best Asian Beauties. Next week, we will be discussing Season 6, Episode 3, The Third Man. And the third man is, in fact, Castiel. Look. Like, if you go to the Supernatural Wiki, because I look at there to check the next episode, this is the picture that they have. Wait, I'll send it to you. It's so cute. Oh, and I have to open Discord, and it's gonna load for so long.
Yes.
Why does Discord update at every single opportunity?
Don't know.
Yeah, it hates us and wants us to die.
Yeah.
Look.
Aww.
They're all in their hands and pockets era.
Yeah, I mean, Dean looks weird and I'm covering him with my hand. But hi, Sam and Cass.
Cass is so cute. Oh. Miss him already.
Yeah,
it's been 2
standing
episodes.
Like a gingerbread man cookie.
Sam...
Why do his legs look so short?
This angle is not servicing him in any way, shape, or form. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
No shape, no way, no form.
Yeah. All right.
Follow up. Give us a rating or review wherever you get your podcast. And leave us a rating or review. You know? I love to read reviews. I love to read people going, funny podcast or whatever. I love it. You know,
wait, when was the last time someone's left us a review?
I have no idea. But
Can
also,
you
like,
love something that's never really happened?
No, people do it. Fuck off. People do it. I love interaction in this podcast specifically. And also, okay, can I just say, I understand that like we're going to have a dip of listeners in season 6 and probably 7 and probably after.
We already did.
Like,
but yeah.
I think after season 5, we're just never going to recover numbers probably. If you're still listening, thank you so much. Please stay.
Thank you.
I'm emotionally pressuring you guys. No. But we're always grateful. We are.
Yeah.
And etc.
Yeah, you can send us asks, and Gray will be happy about the interaction, but I'll still have to answer them.
Yeah. If you send us an ask, Crystal will be more likely to answer it. Just because I find answering asks quite difficult. But I love to answer an email. And I check my email. Like, my email notifications are on.
So depending on who you like better of the hosts, either communicate via a Tumblr ask or our email.
Yeah. If you email us, I will see it like pretty much immediately just because I'm that kind of person. And I will reply. Well,
follow us on social media. We are on Tumblr at BusyAsianBeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPod, BABpod. Thanks to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/BusyAsianBeautiespod, which is where our outtakes live, and check out our merch at babpod.redbubble.com. No one has bought anything from that store except for Danica.
Literally. There's one physical manifestation of BabPod ever, and it's in Danica's house.
Yeah.
I think... Did we even receive that money?
I think you have to make a certain amount before Redbubble sends you a cut.
No, I think they sent it to us at the end of the year. Yeah, they sent it to us. I received it.
Okay, great. Yeah,
we received like $3 or something. I don't know. I forgot how much. Yeah.
Are you doing your section?
Email. If you want to email us, You'll find the email. It's in the description. It's BusyAsianBeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time.
Bye.